Hey everybody, it's Paul. Happy Thursday. I uh, I wanted to talk today a little bit about fear because I woke up in a little bit of a fearful place this morning before my meditation, and through meditation I was able to mostly dispel that fear and go about my day. I'm getting faster and faster at that, so I wanted to share with you what my strategies are for dealing with fear. Because certainly, if you're paying attention to your Facebook feed or the newspaper or the television these days, there are lots of opportunities to feel fearful. That's not to say that we should, but there are lots of opportunities that are pointing us in that direction, right? There's a lot of stuff coming through our sense doors if you're on social media that will tell you you should definitely be scared about what's happening. So, first thing to remind myself about when I feel fearful is that fear is actually, not living in the present. Fear is a concern about a future that has not happened yet, right? And probably will not happen. There's a great Mark Twain quote that I'm about to butcher, but it's something like, "I've lived a life of many tragedies, most of which have never happened." So I paraphrase there. My apologies to the Twain Foundation, but it hits the nail on the head in that worry and fear are all about what may happen in the future, and usually that future never comes to pass anyway. So there's nothing to worry about. But when I'm feeling that fear, when I feel my chest tighten up, my stomach tighten up, when my body gets stiff, when I feel the lizard brain going crazy, then I ask myself two questions. One is, can I do anything about it? And if the answer is yes, then I will go ahead and do that thing. Or at least if I'm compelled to, if it'll help the situation and it'll help me feel less fearful, then I'll do that thing. If the answer is no, then I don't have any control over that thing anyway, and I can go ahead and work on releasing that, because there's nothing I can possibly do about it. Which is, listen, honestly, most of the stuff in your Facebook feed you have no control over, right? So think about that the next time you're starting to get really heightened when you're going through your feed and go, yeah, all this stuff. What I'm going to do, all this stuff. I'm worried about all this stuff. Most of it you can't do anything about. And if you can do something about it, you should probably do that thing, because what we naturally tend to do when we feel that fear come in is we immediately share it with everybody. We think, like, you guys, I'm scared. You should be scared too, so we can all be scared together. And I get why we're all scared. Believe me, I'm paying attention. I get why we're all scared. But for me, and what I share, if you notice, I haven't shared anything like that in some time. And it's not that I'm not paying attention. It's not that I'm sticking my head in the sand. I am paying attention. I'm paying more attention, and I'm leaving a gap, in fact, in between what I feel about something and what I'm willing to share. And most of the time this never makes it to there, because I have all this stuff in between, right? And I have this conversation with myself about fear and the origin of that fear and all those, and I'll talk about that in a second, all those other things. So those things never get posted to my feed, because I don't feel like I should be spreading that fear any further than it's already gone, right? And it may make me feel better for a second to say, you guys, look at this, I'm really scared about this. But then I've just spread that fear to all my friends in my feed. And like, why do I need to put that on them? Like, I can have this internal conversation with myself and help myself dispel this fear and help myself loosen up again and open the heart again, without ever, adding to the pile of, horrors that goes by in your social media feed these days. But the other thing that I asked myself, I got sidetracked there for a second. The other thing that I asked myself is, where is this fear coming from? Because usually something comes through the sense doors, it hits a button somewhere in the past, and then the ego goes crazy and goes, this thing is really bothering me. But it's not this thing. It's hitting a whole pile of stuff from the stories that make up your personality from before, right? So somewhere in your past there's something, and I get to that point, I figure out what that is through meditation usually, right? Again, when I'm sitting, I can figure out, the mind will, if you ask the mind a question, it will just work on it, and it will say, it'll come up with an answer. Yes, sure, that's from when you were 5, or that's from when you were 7, or that's when you were 17, whatever it is. Your experience is what's making you fearful about this new thing, because if you experience something that you didn't like, maybe you're afraid that's going to happen again if so and so happens, right? So you're using something from the past to deal with a future that hasn't happened yet, and what you're not doing in any of that is being in the present, right? Which is actually where everything happens. So if everything is okay right now in the present, then everything is okay, right? That's what I have to keep telling myself. If everything is okay right here, then everything is okay. And so that's the way that I deal with fear. So again, two questions. One, can I do anything about it? Yes or no. And the other question is, where is this fear coming from? And if I can get to that, then I have an experience there, right? So the next time that same stuff gets hit, I go, oh, this feels familiar. Oh, you know what? That's the same spot that got hit before. And much quicker can I open the heart again and be more relaxed again and be out of a state of fear, right? So if you can identify those origins, like I've been trying to identify all these origins of my fear. So when they really get hit, I can go immediately to that place and say, oh, okay, it's all right. It's all right. Just breathe, love yourself. We know exactly where that comes from. Not a big deal. We can deal with that, right? And then get on with the day and not be in fear. So that's the way that I deal with fear, and I get faster and faster at dispelling it. The more origin stories I can come up with, find out where the fear is coming from, the faster I am back into normal life, back into the present, out of the future, out of worry and fear. So hopefully that's helpful to you too, and I will see you next time.